Welcome back to a coaching video, the first one of Season 14. We have a Silver Nocturne versus a Silver Lillia, and it's a shorter one because before we start worrying about macro and things like this, really need to hone down your early games because the grubs have made you all lose sight of what is good about jungling and the control we have, and we are throwing away that control for, they're kind of cute, a little bit donkey looking, but you shouldn't be dying for them. So let's see what our early game power thing is like in the elo range of Doom, and maybe help some of you get gold already in this early season. Nocturne, super power pick. Lillia, also super power pick. I don't know why this player has Ghost, guys. The stat sites are free. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Focus on your jungling. Copy the itemization from the best players, and then you can figure things out as you go, later on. But for now, just focus on your jungling. So the Nocturne, we can assume most people in this elo will start on the bottom side, and he's going for this gank, and already people are thinking, ganking, don't do it, it's ruined. It's not. I mean, like, there was a whole thing about Rengar's being unable to gank, and in the main channel video coming later this week, Rengar just cuts across and gets a free gank. I mean, like, you don't need to reinvent the ganking part thing either. That's exactly the same thing. But at the same time, you've got a Victor here versus Silas. I understand the desire to make this impact, but why waiting? Why are you waiting here? Because now, if Silas doesn't go in, you have no angle of approach, right? You're going to walk at him, and he's going to walk the other direction. Versus, hey, look, I've done this quadrant. Maybe I can gank this lane, but then don't go here, right? Cut underneath. You can track if this guy wards or not. It's very simple. You get leashed, right? And you watch the minimap. I mean, because you're focusing on your clears and practice tool before you play ranked, right? You don't need to think as much about your first clears in terms of micromanaging. Like, you don't need to zoom in to clear the monsters. You can keep an eye on the minimap. And if Silas dips down out of vision and comes back, okay, he warded. So now you probably can't approach from that angle, but you'd always cut over the top lane, right? But now because the Silas has not ditched and whatever, you could easily be going, like right now, you're waiting for this. This is a good patient gank to see right here. As he goes in, you're in this brush right against the wall, walk towards him, and now you're looking at a free flash burn, free control, free gank. Now obviously here, we're going to get the kill, which is good, okay? But I don't want you to results base it because it relied on the Silas going way too deep, all right? And the positioning wasn't good objectively. Now, we got the results. Good. I like the intent there of, look, I don't need to only full clear. You absolutely must head over to Virkayu.gg. I have a free jungle improvement resource as well as a dedicated program where we have jungle video courses, jungle coaching VOD libraries, weekly free video content seen nowhere else, as well as Q&As and patch note rundowns, as well as a private jungle Discord. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's making junglers reach their goals, as we saw with the record number of people hitting them at the end of Season 13. If you want to climb faster than anyone you know, jungle diff every game you play, click the link below or head to Virkayu.gg. I can look for the ganks that are possible before I finish my full clear. I can do the quadrant, get the gank off, win my lane for the mid, and then fall back to this, which is great because mid prio gives you grub prio if you use it properly. The Lillia, on the other hand, could she have done something about this? Not really, because she's less of a skirmisher than a Nocturne is. She needs to do her full clear, and most Lillias are a little bit slow. This is pretty solid for Silver. And we see the Renekton here is pushing on up. We're basically going around the Fog of War. Look at this. Now you show, hits that, get the swoop to dupe, boom. I love it. I love it. This is so much more advanced than we would have seen Silver in many years past. And that's not a joke. Even last year, if you go watch some of the Silver videos, they full clear, they don't look up. This guy, quadrant, boom, gank. The Lillia here, full sequence. Oh, actually, you know what? I should stop full sequencing, get the gank off, and go back to the Krugs. Fantastic. The Nocturne now knows that the Lillia was in the area, in the vicinity, and basically says, I better go for this Scuttle Crab to deny her. That's where things get a little bit difficult to unwind, right? Because you come out of base now, right? Well, not out of base. You stayed out after you gank. You're doing this. You see the Lillia. She does the gank. You know the Scuttle's going to spawn. And the Lillia, basically at this point, could easily come down to do the Scuttle Crab. And I think once the Nocturne does this and hits it away, there's no way she's left this area, right? She has to have either still been here or left to go to the Krugs. And 99% if she was coming on down to do this, she'd be doing it. But I think at this point, I have no issue with us kind of skipping out the Gromp just purely because of the nature of the gank we had. Although in my mind, once I've done this gank, I know I'm compromised versus the Lillia, so I would like to actually just go blue Gromp, leave the wolves out, because this edge camp respawning is more valuable than the wolves in terms of experience and gold combined. I do like that we go for this Scuttle Crab over here. We don't have a smite, unfortunately. We see the Silas again pushing on up. and he decides to leave the Scuttle Crab to go for the gank. I don't have an issue with this other than the fact that there's a huge minion wave. The Victor could really just relax here a little bit. Could have easily finished off the Scuttle Crab and then potentially ganked because of where the wave was. And now the Victor's gone in because of our gank, tanked all of that minion damage. It's his fault, not yours, but you incited it. And now you don't have mid prio for the Lillia to rotate over because she does her Krugs and realizes that you haven't done the Scuttle Crab, so she wants to show up for it, right? Level 4, level 3, you pushed off. Or because we just, sometimes it's good to leave the Scuttle and go for the gank. Other times, it's good to let the wave crash, let the guy chill, and then abuse that ganking angle later. Now, she gets a freebie on the bottom side, and again, the Nocturne's repeat ganking here, and I don't know why. He wants to stop the Lillia from ganking the bottom lane and getting into the Krugs. But again, none of this should be happening from his perspective. Let's see if she actually does that. She should. Low side vision. The Swirling Sea does miss here. We don't got no stacks. We're going to stack those up again. We have some stacks. Now we're still at 3. You want to keep those stacks up as much as possible. The Zarya does hit the root there. We'll go for the bunking gap close into the swoop to dupe. Auto attack. Zarya keeps auto attacking as well. That Swirl Sea does hit here. We need one more swoop. Do we get it? Do we? Oh, she didn't commit. I think she had to full on commit, and that's where the flash is very important. You don't need the ghost at all in anything we've seen this Lillia do. But here you could just Q flash and kill the Caitlyn 100% and retract. You're good. You don't need the ghost at all. It's silly. Just use the flash, all right? Now, the Nocturne in the meantime, to just recap a little bit, because this is my problem with it. If you just say, right, I don't want it to get Scuttle Crab at all. I'm going to take it away because I did blue Gromp, left the wolves up. I do the Scuttle Crab. I let the wave crash. I let mid develop a little bit. I move on up here and I warded. I hit the Scry's Bloom over to see the Lillia. Okay, I see her on Krugs. Because I've done that, I go for the gank here and I go for the double Scuttle immediately. And what this also does, all right, and maybe I'm ahead of myself as well. I wouldn't leave this ward here. I don't like leaving wards here because I would assume at this point that the Lillia assumes I've done the Scuttle and she's going to base. So what I want to do is snack the Scuttle Crab up, hit the Scry's Bloom to confirm, gank the mid lane again because he pushed up, take the double Scuttle, all right, and leave a ward probably here. I mean, over the wall you could. We're still looking for those fine points like here, here, here. There's a lot of areas to ward. Where do you think she's most likely to be seen ganking and pushing bottom lane? Probably through this. So I would just ward that up. And then your bottom lane's protected. And of course, you can loop back for these, or you can just go back to base, right? And this way you take away the gank. But his pathing and his choices have given the Lillia a free Scuttle Crab, a free gank in the bottom lane, and sure, right? She doesn't get a kill and your bottom lane survive, but sums are burned and she should have gotten a kill. You can't operate on the sort of, she didn't, so it's good. Same thing as you can't operate on the first gank being the best angle of approach because he got a kill. Gankle of approach, angle of approach. And now we go back to the mid lane here again. We use a spell shield a little bit too soon, and there's the cake. Sylas is one of the best turners of fights. And now you're running at the guy with no itemization reset. You're just kind of running at him directly. Eventually, he's going to get something back now. For the amount of ganks and time we've invested into this mid lane, let's go, let's go, let's go. Come on, you should know what to buy. Hexblade, Hexblade, go. What are you doing? Guys, taking way too long, guys. Hexblade, do your Axiomar kind of stuff and just win the game. The Stridebreaker's gone. It's not that good. And now, we leave the base and we're going up for this, the grubbies. And the Lillia, bless her soul, isn't obsessed over these grubs. She is rushing that Haunting Guy. It's juicy, but I still advise getting the Dark Seal tech. It's pretty good. Let's see. Nocturne just goes for it. She's not obsessed over it. Fantastic. Sylas now has a huge level 6 spike and kills the Victor from it. I mean, the amount of time he invested into the mid lane for the Sylas to be 3-1-0, gold 2.8, Victor 2.2. That's not a mid lane gap. So if you want to go and enter discords and complain about your mid laner, despite your ganks you caused this, right? Because, simply put, all you had to do was have a good angle of approach here, get the kill, cool. Do everything as you did, take the Scuttle Crab, let the wave crash, let the Victor not lose free HP, then gank it again strategically, prevent your bottom lane from being ganked, and the Lillia will have nothing to do. And the Victor, you don't need to gank 6 times badly. I'd rather you gank 1, 2, 3 times perfectly, right? Like perfect examples of ganking. And the first one was one of those, but a lot of the rest of the ganks just weren't that great. Now Lillia, full close up, she's not going to scoot on all the way down here, get that level 6 onto the Victor, swoop-de-doop on the Q, and obviously try to get the sweet spot damage on the next proc of the well, on any proc of your W, but obviously the true damage on the Q and the sweet spot on the W. Very important for us, and we're using that one to try and get away from the fear, and Silas shows up and actually gets that kill. So a huge PvP moment. Let's just watch that again in real time without all the preamble. So, Renekton, Forgotten Emo, as he plays My Chemical Romance as he goes back to the top lane. We go ahead and snack this top scuttle, and now, obviously, from Red Team's perspective, we chuck the Swole Seed. Valiant attempt. We do have ult though. We hit our Q, which means we can get that ultimate off. We get stunned, but we'll get the ult here. There we go. And Silas can follow afterwards. There we go. Just keep auto-attacking, keep your stacks up, keep the true damage sweet spot in your Q hitting as much as possible. Hit that E to slow. You see the Silas rotating over here, so now she actually places quite well here. Goes for another Q, goes for the W to create space. The Silas gap closes, gets the stuns, get the kill. It's really well done. It's honestly really, really well done. And she's 201 up, will be up over 10 CS, like 12 CS here. So yeah, we got the grubs, but the early power thing was simultaneously really good and really terrible. And the Lillia, all she did was full clear, look for the gank, go back to the clear, see that he's wasting his time, cut in, take this, gank this, full sequence up, give up the grubs, loop around, get the scuttle crab, gank to mid lane, and now she's going to go back to her camps, Obviously here you can look for these opportunities to maybe do something, but, if you're low, you got a mana, no ult, they got to recognize that as well. And the Nocturne now has no level 6 at... Oh, he will get it here at 8.5 minutes in the game. 8.5 minutes. And his bottom lane are 301, despite the fact he hasn't interacted. So you can complain about your mid lane and all the ganks you gave him, but your bottom lane is running away with it. You see? So the grubs don't really factor in here in terms of a contest or something that's caused a lot of issues in the game. But I'm just really happy that the Lillia didn't force it. She said, look, I can't do them. The guy's going to go ahead. Whatever, man. I'll gank the lanes. I'll go back to my camps. I'll get myself a beautiful Haunting, guys. Very strong. Also, again, still Dark Seal. Huge. And now she's going from the wolves. All right. Down to the wolves. Into the ground. Probably having a conversation there. I don't know why. I mean, I understand why she's doing this. If she were high elo. Because you kind of anticipate the Nocturne getting 6 and ulting his bottom lane, right? So you really want to shadow down and line up a lane gank here. And because your bottom lane is losing and you're quite strong, you feel you can do something to this lane. So lane gank is great. Either Nocturne shows you can't gank it, or you just get a great gank anyway. And then you can take the dragon thereafter. Sure, now the next grubbies will come up, but you can reset and contest if that's something you want to do. But in the real world, Nocturne ults and goes on the Silas again. Look at the damage that he has, and he can apply that back. I'll take your ult as well, sir. And Caitlyn and Morgana kill the Zyra. So the Lillia's got a losing bottom lane, a really inting bottom lane. Could have done something about that, I feel, with better pathing and less typing, maybe. Let's have a look. Ult not up yet, but our damage is huge. We dodge, movement speed proc, and obviously you're not strong enough to run at a Morgana. Caitlyn with sums up in this kind of moment. And is she really going to use the Silas Prior for this dragon? Because, Nocturne at this point, she is. I would probably gank first, though. I would probably gank first, because kill conversion ratio, right? Like, I would be moving with the Silas here. We want to get these kills 100%. We want to burn these sums. This should be a dead Caitlyn again. The Lillia doing the dragon is not so good. Like, you want to kill first, then you can easily flow back to the dragon. And this guy's just sequencing now. He's out of the game. He took himself out of the game as well. It's just really weird. Really, really odd. Yeah, but good job by the blue side bottom lane, surviving both of these hardcore ganks. Nocturne now is going to go to the top side and say, "Liz, I'm going to get the grubs." When would anyone have warded that you need to control ward either? Don't really need a control ward, but it is what it is. Like, I understand why you want Vision to deny, but in a way, even if it is warded a little bit, you know where they are, you know what they're doing, you have the numbers advantage at the moment. You either turn to create the fight that you want, or you pull off, right? Wow, sorry, not pull off. You turn to create the fight that you want, or you just finish the grubs in their face. Because here, right, there's no knowledge that there's no wards at all, and they're gonna hit the scribes when they see you. they see me anyway, right? There's no vision. So I understand why you place a control wood here. I just don't like wasting one. You know, you've got a scanner, use the scanner. Like, you've got 2 charges on your scanner. Use it here in the pit where wards are temporary, and keep the control wood in a position like here, right? Where you can set a trap and see people approaching. Same with the Herald. The bush is just moved, but the same principle. And let's see what happens here. The one Morgana is actually down here. The Zyra has rotated. So Lillia, obviously, her ult is activated here. She snacks that one up to get the Drowsy. Nice sweet spot damage. The Renekton's way out of whack. He's dead. Rylai's or Haunting Guy is doing huge work here. Silas is really, really fed. The amount of time he invested into the mid lane just shows you, that should be a swoop-de-doop or an auto attack, shows you that it's important to have 2 to 3 well-executed, well-timed, within the flow of jungling ganks for spam ganking for no reason. That's it. And now the grubs here are available to be taken. The red team now has a huge categorical lead that they can use on the top side of the map. Top side of the map. Bottom side of the map is doomed. That's why you see the gold amount is equal. And they go for this contest, and it works. I don't really have an issue with this either direction. Like, blue side's like, okay, look, things aren't going our way. We could use these grubs to push in, use our bottom lane to push in. Let's do that. Maybe we can get it before the red team rotates over. And the red team think, look, our bottom lane is screwed. We really need to fight for this. So it's basically like a 3v3 of the top side of the map, and the blue side definitely don't have the damage, the gold, the experience to do anything, and they probably should have just left it. Once you see them contest, you take the 1, that means you've gotten 4, you know, maybe you can get 5, but ideally you should just leave. Nocturne's like, hello, can I do something? Oh, yes, I can, but now you're going to die. It flashes out. Maybe he won't die. He should die. He should die. Oh, he lives. Caitlyn and Morgana, strong lane. They get the Void Grubs onto that one. Renekton will now clear the vision away. Lillia, in the meantime, can just keep farming it up. She's up 81 CS to 65. The Silas just keeps killing and keeps winning. It's not a lane you want to gank and lose. Like, if you gank it, you got to make sure it's shut down, which is why I think like this gank here was great, and waiting here would have been better, and maybe you could actually shut him down. And you just open the door into tragedy. Finally, we see some proper counter jungling as well. There is a ward, though, from the blue side, so TP is committed by the Victor to try and cut her off from the grub. And, you know, honestly, let's be real. When you see the Renekton clear the ward on the grubs, you probably know it's kind of warded. You don't expect the Victor to donate his TP to stop you, but I'm okay with that. 100%. I'm doing Grump, and I burned the Victor's TP and I didn't die. That's fine. Now I can just translate that into gank on the top side with the Nocturne shadows mid lane. Here we go. Do we have enough? Nope. GP ult doesn't really do anything. Nocturne's not holding this wave yet. He's got nothing to do. He's got nothing to do. He just doesn't know. He's 1-3-1. He's got the hex plate, experimental hex plate, which is great, but can he actually kill anyone at this stage? And that's the problem with his item. Well, not problem, but, you know, this is I'm ahead. I can then get Axie Mark, and my ult is up every 20 seconds, and everybody dies all the time because no one can deal with me. I'm in your face. I'm fisting you. I've got the objective control. I'm pushing turrets. It's the accelerated Nocturne game plan. And now he's decelerated. Now we have a TP advantage on the bottom side here. Silas makes the commitment, finally gets a shot down onto the Caitlyn. Obviously, we have the GP as well, fully committed. The Renekton's here as well. And in the meantime, while the whole blue team is down here, Lillia is like, okay. All right. And then I love the Zyra. Liz. She's just pushing. Doesn't rotate. Just keeps pushing. There you go. Nocturne has his ult up very shortly, so she should probably be careful there. But yeah. When everyone commits their TPs and rotates down to these fights, really, really funny. But I feel like the Lillia has done a good job. To a decent degree. Her CS should be high. I feel like most junglers in this elo, if you sequence properly and play like the Lillia with a bit more, you know, courage of your convictions, you probably have the most CS in the game. Like, you should be over 100 at least right now. And I do feel like she's given a little bit too much credit to the map here, but I'm just showing you the itemization here. I mean, look at this. This item plus Rift Maker, absolutely massive. And remember, the passives on this, Torment and Suffering, are not the same as the two passives on Rift Maker. So while they both build out of Haunting Guys, you can't build two Haunting Guys and stack them up, but you can build two items completed out of it, and they're different passives, right? So you're just stacking all of this together. And in the meantime, while we're talking about that one, the Nocturne's like, yes, I will hold this wave for you, my team. Let's see what he does. Misses his Q. then goes in to a Nyla who can dash 1,000 times and just kill him. Now Caitlyn gets a kill back, but... And all of this is a domino effect, isn't it? It's all a domino effect. And the Lillia now gets another dragon for free and some counter jungling. I do like that she's starting to reach in. You know, you don't really want to overreach for counter jungling in this new season. There's a lot of rotations, a lot of fighting. People are ready to go, and the map is really open. Like blue side map here and blue side map here are really open. So you don't want to overcommit to certain counter junglings, as you saw here. Like we went for counter jungling. TB was committed, okay. You know, but here's a good one. Someone died, take his stuff, fall back to the objective. They could do nothing. I got the Silas. There we go. Nocturne shows up. Like, why are you showing up? Same exact thing as always, right? People said, well, you know, do the courses still make sense? Everything I talk about in those courses, I designed to go on forever. So the map has changed, but it's the same principles. Yeah, but how do I gank mid lane if the map is different? It's the same thing, right? What I used to follow the mouse. Imagine it's the old map. There's a pixel bush here, right? Bracket, bracket, bracket against the wall. Well, not like that. Bracket against the wall, out, in, and swoop in, right? Now you just do the same thing. Come here, cut in, over here, touch the wall, touch the wall, touch the wall, all the way up until the second rock, and then you cut in. Same thing, just a little wider. Same principles. And the Nocturne, and people who are dying for grubs and doing this kind of stuff, none of that's changed for you. You still shouldn't be doing it, and you shouldn't have been doing it in the past either. That's why you were silver, no offense, but that's why you were. And once you fix your ganking angles of approach, you have high and tight pathing around vision that you know exists, and then you go ahead and snack some objectives, do some counter jungling, and don't int tempo advantages. You'll get to gold very, very quickly. And Nocturne is the best way to do it. Absolutely. Huge. Nocturne really is a power play for this elo. And Lillia is too. She's not as accessible because it's a little bit different, but she's still easy. She's still easy. And when you're in a rough position, you still have your passive, right? Fully stacked to be able to get in and out of situations, as we've seen. And now I just want you to imagine having Dark Seal here, fully stacked. Kind of nice. You know, going to Riftmaker plus a Mejai's, Rylai's. You know, you get so much HP, so much Omnivamp, so much scaling. Get movement speed from Mejai's. No one can kill you. Nocturne will ult and you'll just kill him. That's why she's powerful. She's great at just absorbing pressure and not kind of inting it away. Like, he keeps ulting onto the Lillia here and now. We're having a fat discussion about atomization and general practices, but if we were to apply the same critiques that we've been doing to the Nocturne, you move on down to do this Rift Herald, right? This 40-minute Rift Herald, pretty strong. We miss a Swirl Seed. The Gangplank moves on down, but look at the nature of the pry on the lanes. Do we have TP from Silas? No, we do not. Do we have pry on the mid lane? No. Whose bottom lane is winning hardcore? Ours. Nyla's going back to base, right? Okay, so should we be doing this? 2 mid, 1 to support, ADC's basing, guys, no TP on the bottom side. You're on this one. It's all warded up, and again, 2 scanner shots. 2 scanner shots here. Use the shots, man. Like, the Nocturne uses a control ward instead of just scanning the area. The Lillia is sitting here doing this with no pry without scanning. If you scan it and there's no vision and you can sneak it away, it's a little risky, but you have the lead. All you do is you pull it out, and if they contest, you just run away. Like, it's worth a little bit of a cheeky steal, right? To prevent any bounties and to maintain the ability to push the map to end. But instead, they don't recognize that the Nyla's gone back to base. They don't recognize that Silas has no TP. They don't scan the area whatsoever, and then they get collapsed upon and killed. So there's only so much an gold lead will do for you when you're outnumbered to that degree. Now, Nyla shows up here. Zyra is building the stupid item. By that, I mean, it's a good item. And as you all know, she's one of my the hardcore main. I have a lot of points in her. Probably close to 2 million at this point. 2 million at this point. The item second feels good, but Leandry should be a rush always. Always, always, always. And yeah, you run out of mana a little bit, like we used to back in the day before all the mythics. But it just feels weird to build Lost Chapter after you have your main item completed. So it's, honestly, just take your Zac Realm Spike, which is Zac. There's things we could call them, those icons. I won't. But yeah, get your Zac, get yourself a Leandry's, slap into a Rylai's, you have HP, and you do the classic combo. That's the default way to play it. This play's not very good though. She entered lane and she's missing all the spells. I mean, it do be that way. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a waste of a Rift Herald from the Lillia. Nice little throw. Now, we could use it and we could drive on in with it. Remember, if you drive into a champion, they'll get knocked up. And if you hit the turret, you get mites plus a shield when you get extricated. But now you're in the middle of 3 people. So, as always, before we could activate the Herald and play smart, right? You activate it, you shadow it, you hit it, but if you go too deep, you die. Now you're in it. So if you go too deep, you're in the middle of no man's land. And they absolute huge throw there from the Herald situation. So Lillia gives them a free Herald, free ability to use it. Red team are like, but what if... blue team are like, but what if we just throw that lead back at you? And red team saying, okay, you know, Silas can rotate up, we'll do it. Which is exactly what happened. Gold lead now. Not that big still. Scuttle Crab available. Nocturne leaving base. Lillia random counter juggling. Don't know why. Shadowing a bit. Victor, is he going to face check this bush? He is going to face check this bush. That's very interesting. Zarya doesn't quite hit the E, but she gets the stacking slow on the roots. And Nyla and the Lillia should be able to get some kills. Nocturne goes back in here to get the kill. And now the Lillia should be able to deal with him actually quite easily. I'm surprised she's not full on committing to kill him, but obviously you saw from the map there, you do have to be a little cautious. She hit her abilities, go up, unless you want to die, and well, unless they want to die, who knows? Maybe they'll mechanically play badly. Yeah, so here if I see people moving up potentially this side, I like to move up, and especially seeing as she went counter jungling looking, she has the timers, so we know they're up, so we kill them, take everything, kill this guy for pushing on the top side, you know, push that in a little bit, take this one. You got a Baron up, you got a Dragon coming up, so yeah, a lot of cool things we could do. I'm not opposed to counter jungling down here, but that's because Morgana stayed down in the bottom lane instead of moving up with the Caitlyn, so keep all of this in mind. Oof. Mechanics are a little dodgy though, no? Definitely a little dodgy. So one of the biggest things for this season is when you have grubs. You can see on the scoreboard, you see there on the top left, there you go, grubbies. 4-2 on the blue side. Alright, the Nocturne's team has it. But having grubs, 5-6 are the sweet spot by the way, 5-6, give you those mites, it makes pushing really insane. You can end quickly, especially with the Caitlyn, especially with the Renekton, especially with the Nocturne. But you gotta be able to use it. And that's why I'm okay with people like the Lillia and the Silas and so on, giving up those grubs if it makes no sense, because the enemy team may have 4-5-6, but if they can't actually walk up to a turret to use them, they're useless. It's absolutely useless. So what you need to do is make sure that the map from red team's perspective is pushed up all the time so that blue team never get to push back into turrets and use that power that they gained. So say for example blue team had 6 here, you just keep them away from these turrets, and what do the grubs do? Literally nothing. So pushing up the map is very, very important. And that's why you see good pressure here from the red team, keeping these waves shoved up. Dragon's about to spawn. You know, Morgana's on the top side of the map here. We're going for deep vision. I like going for deep vision here. This one, Malignant, is pretty damn good, but obviously you would have killed him anyway with Leandries. I don't think it really matters much. Malignant's versus bait on most champions. It just has a low win rate because the build path and the stats aren't primed for level 6. They're really primed for level 11, or ultimate usages once you've already got one item, so just keep it in mind. You look at most champions, like you can definitely go Malignants first in Karthus, but the win rate is terrible. Like, it's terrible in Fiddle as well. There's better ways to play. We're still figuring that out, and we'll see how things go with the new buffs, so I'm not talking too much about it, because next patch, next week, this could all be different. You know, with new items, it's always a quick moving scenario. Like, Nocturne's just in the base now, alright, probably waiting for itemization. You know, he spent way too long in base. Like, look at this. Right, he respawns for it here. Okay, there we go. Waiting, gets his Warhammer. Now goes, he doesn't know what to build. Like, he's not sure what to build. And if in doubt, just Hex plate it up. Guys, Hex plate it up. Get yourself a Black Cleaver, get yourself a Sterex. Fine, absolutely fine to go that in games where you're behind. You know, slap in a GA, and you're good to go. You got good tenacity, more of my Mortius, all the usual stuff. It's fine. But the idea is to get Hexplate, get ahead, and, you know, build into a bit of lethality. Aximark, we've got here pretty AP heavy comps. Edge of Knight's going to be massive. Now you see, like, he's doing some work here, but imagine with a bigger lead. You didn't need to heal, honey, but thank you so much. That's why red team here, again, another throw moment. The game's still closer than it really should be, I feel. 8,000 for enemy ADC. Caitlyn's got a huge lead, but it's not as big as I thought. 1,400 only? 1,500? Thought Caitlyn would have had a much bigger lead. Space gliding Caitlyn on the heels of victory. Maybe. Or defeat. But yeah. Yeah. Silas's lead over the Victor is profound. And the Lillia is up 2k on the Nocturne, so you can't exactly say mid-gap. Definitely jungle gap here. Now, all you gotta do, 100%, is control your camps, ward deep. The Zyra's going a little bit too ham here, a little bit of a face checky. That could have very easily have been a dead Zyra. Probably should be, you know? Like, I would be pulling the trigger in this. Like, who's waiting for this? Obviously, the Nocturne doesn't have ult, but... Oh, imagine if he had Aximark, had the lead, Ultimate Hunter was fully stacked nicely. Yeah. Zyra just walked into their entire territory to try and ward with no help whatsoever, with no one in position, and lived. Yeah, so red team, when I said push the map together, I like what the Zyra is doing in terms of... Okay, not that, I don't like that. But, guys, can we just do the Baron and end? Like, why are we running around farming Lillia? Why are you farming? Why? Let's go. Group up, kill them, take the Baron, end the game. You don't need to walk around here, you know? He hit no plants. Now she dies. Red team are like, yo, you're super low HP. Gangplank shows up as well. Going AD Gangplank, not AP Gangplank. But yeah, Lillia. See. Tick. And Silas is not even in the picture. TP is up when? 30 seconds? Now, just as a quick note, because this game, as I said, is a shorter game, the Barons are much harder to contest. So even here, you know, you think, okay, look, if you're blue team and you see 2 to 3 people doing the Baron, and maybe you have 2 to 3 people yourself, it's a lot more difficult to take. There's mechanics now that do damage and kind of disrupt the team doing it. So you can very easily rotate and get a lot of pickup kills here. But unfortunately, for the blue team, that all died, you know. Trying to kill the Nyla, trying to kill the Zyra. They should have just killed them very, very quickly. Zyra overcommitted, kill her. Nyla, kill her, take the Baron. They all rotate, kill them. Unfortunately, and I don't recommend you guys do this, they FF. This game is not one you needed to FF if you're blue team, because you got such a fed bottom lane, but you know, Victor and Nocturne definitely are the two reasons why this game is unwinnable from their perspective. So hopefully that helps you in silver, try to get to gold, and as always, I'll see you all in the next one.